Let me go over blue. This is the blue realm, otherwise known as Aequor, otherwise known as Lemuria. It is the best realm for every new player to pull on, regardless. I will always say that if you're pulling on any other realm, you are inting your account as a new player. You are delaying your progression as a new player. You are getting less resources than a player than by pulling any other realm. Why? They have some of the best standards in the game that can carry you early game and carry you early game, end game. It's the fastest realm to hit end game and start doing alert 1 through 3 D-Tide on. Because as a new player, you will not have the resources to level up units. You will not have the resources to tackle on even easy mode D-Tide without mixing in some blue units. Why? Tentacles it's probably one of the best mechanics in the entire game due to how they scale, especially early game. Now, how blue works in Arc 1 and Arc 2, and whether you have G Murphy or not, or Murphy Faubourn, the current banner at the time of recording this video, is different. So I'm going to go over everything about blue in this video. So what does Tentacles do? Tentacles have 3 stances. Blue, white, red. It's still, surging, and raging. Still is white, surging is blue, raging is red. Most people just refer to it as blue stance, white stance, red stance. The default stance is blue. At the start of battle, it's always going to be blue stance. Now, what does blue stance do? Blue stance lets you hit, the tentacles will hit for 100% of their tentacle damage every turn, and at the end of turn, you get 1 extra tentacle up to cap. And once you hit the cap, if you go over, you can go over the cap for 5 more tentacles without rouses. Now, there are very few sources of permanent tentacle cap gain. So, let's say your cap is 5 on the screen before you. Once you have 5 tentacles, every time you quote-unquote gain a tentacle, it stores in the back end of the game. So in order to unlock the next cap, you need to gain 1 tentacles. So if you have 5 out of 5 tentacles, next turn, if you're in blue stance, you will have 5 out of 6 tentacles. Because it will unlock a new empty cap bar. And then the next turn you're in blue stance, you get 1 tentacle, now you have 6 tentacles. So that's a plus 1 cap. Now the next cap in stance will take 2 gain tentacles. So what does this mean? It means that if you're in blue stance, you're at 6 out of 6 tentacles now in this example. You end turn. Next turn, nothing will happen. But on the back end of the game, it will record to as plus 1 tentacle stored up. And next turn, when you end turn or you gain a tentacle, it will be plus 2. So the next turn after, you have another empty tentacle slot. Not with tentacle. That is the next tentacle slot unlocked. And then turn after that, that tentacle slot will be filled out. Now you'll have 7 out of 7 tentacles in this scenario. And to unlock the third slot, you need to have plus 3 tentacle slots in the background. Whether it's from Tulu, whether it's from any other source of gain tentacle. In the background, you need to have 3 plus gain tentacles to unlock the next slot. That's how tentacle count, up to 5. The maximum you can get from doing this is 5. So for the very last slot, you need to have 5 plus tentacle gain in order to get 1 more slot uncapped. So that's generally how to gain tentacles. Another way, how do you gain tentacle cap? Or, max tentacles is rousing blue units. Every blue unit, when you rouse them, they will gain 1 tentacle. Okay? Every blue unit, when you rouse them, which is unlocking, evolving them in Arc 1, etc. There is only one way in the game, one unit in the game that can get you infinite tentacle cap. Morimens. This is the only unit in the game that has no cap on how many tentacles you can gain. You can gain 100 tentacles maybe, but normally we don't know because the boss usually dies before we can meme it out. Because her ability, when you over exalt Morimens, which is 8 copies, is a very big investment. But she is the only unit in the game that can do this with her overexalt. It's +1 tentacle and +1 tentacle cap. It is the only unit in the game that can do multiple tentacles. And her rouse is a triple rouse that is also plus tentacle count or tentacle cap. This is the only unit in the game at the time of me recording this video that can increase your maximum amount of tentacles. Not gain tentacles. Any unit can gain tentacles. A lot of units gain tentacles. This is the only one that can make your dream of slapping the boss with 60 tentacles a reality. Only one unit. The boss will be dead before then. So yeah, that is how do you gain tentacles right now. So that's what blue stance does, 100% damage and gain tentacle. So what does white stance do? General white stance, not G Murphy white stance, gets you a shield based on your realm mastery and your team's max HP. The higher your team's max HP is, the big juicy con stat, the bigger your white stance shield is. And this is invaluable as a new player because white stance shield scales faster than 90% of units' defense cards, especially early game, even late game. A white stance defense provides more value than most defense cards of most units, provided with a few limited invested exceptions. And is very versatile outside of G Murphy, because it can white stance whenever. Some people just put blue units in just for the white stance, because you can white stance every turn for the big defense. Now, what's the con of white stancing as opposed to staying in blue stance? The con, besides the few relics that procs, depending on if you're white or blue stance, is that when you're in a white stance, outside of G Murphy, your tentacles do half damage, 50% damage, okay? But every time your tentacles hit, you get a shield based on stats. That is the con. And you no longer gain a tentacle at the end of turn, unlike in blue stance. But white stance has its place in the game as well. So let's go to the next stance. Red stance. Red stance is the DPS stance of the blue realm. It works very well with multi-hit units like Tawil, like fucking Aritza, like Corpo. Basically, every time you hit the boss when you're in red stance, it causes a red tentacle to hit once as well. If you hit the boss 100 times, your tentacles are also going to hit 100 times. Also in red stance, your tentacles get a % damage buff. Flares, why would I not always red stance if it is this OP? Because the con of red stance is that after the turn you red stance, you lose one tentacle. That is the con. You lose a tentacle every time you red stance. So you only red stance on super extreme burst turns. Remember, new players, click on the tentacle button. You can click on it. Now let me go in depth on tentacles some more before I go over the units. Again, outside of Chaos, every realm gets more in depth on their mechanics. So, you can click on the small tentacles on your stream. 99.999999999% of players do not notice. You can click on the small tentacles on your screen. Do it right now. Click on the small tentacles. You can do it. Click on it. What does it do? It tells you your tentacles crit rate. It tells you your tentacles crit damage, and it gives you information about how tentacles work. It's very long text. In this, because I'm streaming and recording its audio, it's a very long text. If you want what I just described to you with max HP and what, that's what it does. So, what is tentacle crit rate and crit damage based off of? It's based off the crit rate and your crit damage of all of your Aequors sort of averaged out. I'm not going to say averaged out because it's not exactly averaged out, but it takes all of your Awakeners crit rate and crit damage, adds them together, and then does something, converts it to crit rate, crit damage. It's not all crit rate divided by 4. All crit damage divided by 4. It's not exactly that. Because you have to factor in other things like damage amp, fucking cover. It's more than that. But that's generally the gist of it. Okay? So, sometimes you want to build crit rate on units that aren't even attacking just to buff the crit rate of your tentacles. Now, there are certain wheels, there are certain effects, certain covenants that also helps buff the crit rate and crit damage of your tentacles. Let's go on to other factors of the blue realm. I haven't even went over the units yet, and you already see why blue is very strong. Just the tentacles itself can carry you early game. No matter how dog shit your team building is, how dog shit your comp is, how clueless you are about playing the game, how clueless of an ultra player you are. You can play blue with a 2-digit IIQ. It is fine. Your tentacles will do most of the work. You can place the most dog shit units in the game and just end turn, you can fuck up. And your tentacles can still do the job for you. Early game. Now, let's go on to G Murphy, Divine Blue Realm. Now, Divine Blue Realm is a new addition to the game, otherwise known as JP Blue. Now, when you have G Murphy, Murphy Foe Burn, it changes how Blue Realm works. Also, before you do that, Blue Realm, base Blue Realm, starting tentacle damage is affected by wheels, strength, and damage amp on your teams. So some people run full damage amp on 4 units to buff their starting tentacle damage. That's how it works normally. How does it work with G Murphy? G Murphy changes the blue realm in its entirety. Instead of base, tentacle damage being that, is now based off of your max HP. Tentacle damage is now based off 5% of your team's max HP. That is the big change. Now, the 3 stances. Blue stance is roughly the same outside of that change with G Murphy. White stance and red stance are now changed if you have G Murphy on your team. White stance and red stance now has a 3-turn cooldown as opposed to using it whenever you want. In exchange, white stance is buffed heavily. You get a lot more shields from white stancing. That is the pro and the con. In exchange for the red stance, having a 3-turn cooldown, it is buffed heavily. That is the simplified version of it. If you want in-depth version of it, go to my G Murphy video, G Murphy guide. That is the layman example. Now, why else is blue one of the best realms for still new players? Their standard units are some of the most overstated units in the game. comparative to any other unit. Like, compare them level 60 to level 60. They have the best stats and the best scaling in terms of HP and attack damage, which matters. Because your max health is based off, again, I'm going to use this word, is not exactly this. It's not exactly the average. It's not Constitution divided by 4. It's Constitution times your Aequor level, times something, and average it out. There's more math involved. But I'm going to simplify it. Your max HP is based on the con stat, the Constitution stat, the heart stat of all 4 units on your team. Goliath and Caucus has the 2 highest con values in the game. And they have the highest Constitution values out of any standard unit you can possibly get. And that max HP will do wonders for you in any team. And their units are extremely, extremely strong, especially early game. Coupled with their mechanics. There are no misses in Blue Standard as opposed to other realms. Now, Ultra, Jenkins, Winkle, great units. Jenkins is a great DPS carry. Fucking Caro, Uvash, if you get 8 copies of him, great DPS carry. Chaos, they have no DPS carries in the standard pool. Now, Blue, they have Caucus as a DPS carry. They have Goliath as a DPS carry. Even Pharos is usable early game. Even Sangha can be a shield carry in damage. Only Solis is the pure support unit here. So you have 4 out of 5 carries that you can use early game. You cannot miss. I recommend to hit E3 Caucus, E2 Goliath, and then go straight to Wheel Jail. I'll cover Wheel Jail here. This game is very dupe dependent, especially with the weapons. Now, wheels are the weapons in this game. So, when you plus 12 an SSR limited wheel, an SSR wheel, whether in standard or what. So basically a 5-star wheel, whatever game you want to call it. If you plus 12 a wheel, you can equip another SSR wheel. That is why you want to go to Wheel Jail and pull for Titan's Blade as soon as possible. I'm going to cover this in every realm video and every guide. This is the most important information for new players to know. Blue ensures you go to Wheel Jail as fast as possible. You can start working on your weapons. Once you're in Wheel Jail, you never leave. I am in Wheel Jail. Every player who's watching this video that's a vet and watching this for shits and giggles, they're in Wheel Jail too. It's a miserable place. We're all stuck in Wheel Jail. Okay? We're just pulling for wheels. Where am I gonna get all the other units if I only pull blue and go to Wheel Jail players? Rewinds. Every time you pull for limited units, you have a chance to off-rate another standard unit. That's the majority of where you're going to get your standard dupes once you enter Wheel Jail. And you use the rewind selectors they give out every Annie or every couple of months to rewind any standard unit in the game and then select key units from another realm. So you can go the entire game never pulling on dog shit standard banners like Chaos, like Ultrash, like Caro. You can only pull blue and never pull any of the other realms. And you can still get their good standard units by getting the standard selector dupes when you rewind a Pharos. When you rewind a blue unit you do not like. Or when you off-rate limited units and you just rewind that and you can use those selectors to pick and choose directly exactly what you want from each realm. No RNG required. People telling you to pull on Ultra, telling you to pull on Caro, telling you to pull on Chaos. You are wasting your resources. You are wasting your standard pools that can be better used in Wheeljail, better used elsewhere. Because you can off-rate those units in those realms, or just choose the good ones. Blue has the most usable units in the game in their standard banner pool, with high stats that can carry you through early game. Even late game, you can still use them with G Murphy. That is why it's extremely important for new players to just pool blue, get the Caucus, get the Goliath up, E3, E2, then go to Wheeljail so you can start working on your weapons. You'll be in Wheeljail your entire life playing this game, because you want as many plus 12 wheels to equip more of them, make your team more versatile. Remember, equipping 2 SSR wheels are very strong, because SSR wheels have doubled the stats of SR wheels. They have quadrupled the stats of R wheels. That's just how the game works. So that concludes the blue overview. Well, maybe I go in depth on the units. So, fuck it. I will go to my past year video on why it's good. I don't want to make this video too long. Go to my tier list video, and I'll go in depth. This is the realm mechanic. This is why I do it. If you want actual unit reviews, go to those videos. I made those videos already, motherfucker. I'm not going to go over it again. Okay, I'll see you guys in my next video.
He sleeps in the trench where the light don't reach. The boy king dreams, but his wrath still speaks. Clem buzzes loud, but the tide don't care. The tentacles rise, she gasps for air. Yo, it's Toulouse, crowned in the cradle of waves. SSR limited, broke out of the cave. First awaker, the myth, the spark. Dropped day one, made the whole realm go dark. Lemuria's light, slept in sapphire foam. One cast, whole squads turned to stone. But time passed, and the meta got cold. Now they call me lazy, say I'm old gold. Power crept by bugs with antenna and sass. Clem flutters an ultra, all glitter, no clash. She calls herself queen, that's a cosmic joke. She's queen of trash, her whole kit broke. Slap, 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 from the deep we rise. Slap, 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 no more ultra lies. Slap, 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 bugs get crushed. Tolu wakes once and the realm gets hushed. Clem's got wings but they won't help fly when the boy king slaps from sea to sky. No mercy, no chat, no ultra turn, just tidal wrath and a lesson to learn. He ain't just strong, he's Lemuria's flame. The crown, the trench, the ancient name. Born of coral, raised by storm. His tentacles breach in a regal form. So let her buzz, let her realm decay. The king of Lemuria don't come to play. He sleeps, he dreams, but when he turns, the insect queen gets no ultra turn. Let her buzz, let her boast. I'll slap her soul into ghost. Let her swarm, let her sting. I sleep, but I'm still king. Ultra's a joke, a puddle in disguise. Their awakers weak, their stats all lies. Wanda builds counters, that's rich, she don't. You press her skill, and the stacks say nope. Liz drops poison like she's throwing rice, while Yarm and Ferals make venom precise. They call it a realm, but it's barely a zone. While Lemuria's throne is carved in stone. No lord, no soul, just bugs in a jar. While Tolu dreams beneath trench and star. He don't need buffs, banners or spin. He slaps once and the tide pulls in. Slap, 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 the throne don't bend. Slap, 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 this is Ultra's end. Slap, 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 the tides return. The king of Lemuria makes the ocean churn. Let them build their brittle hide. Let them crown their hollow queen. When I rise, they'll remember what a kingdom means.